Joining us today for a special edition of New News is the 6-foot guard from Iowa. She's the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, the first overall pick in the 2024 WNBA draft. She's a two-time WNBA All-Star, 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year, the 2024 Time Magazine Athlete of the Year, and she is the first and now last guest of New Heights in the 2025 season.
Oh, wow. They actually had her first and last for the same year. That's kind of crazy.
Let's go! 92%ers, please welcome back to the show, Caitlin.
Caitlin Clark's return to the spotlight did not happen by accident. When she walked back onto the New Heights podcast, it felt big for a reason. This was not just another interview. This was a moment carefully set up to grab attention. To understand why it matters, look at how she was introduced. She is a 6-foot guard from Iowa, the all-time leading scorer in NCAA history, the number 1 pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, a 2-time WNBA All-Star, the 2024 Rookie of the Year and Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year. On top of all that, she became both the first and last guest of the podcast's 2025 season. That alone raised eyebrows. Having the same person open and close a season is rare. It immediately signals importance. The Kelsey brothers do not bring guests back without a reason. When Caitlin Clark appears on their show twice in exactly 1 year, that timing is intentional. This is not casual banter. It is strategy. What is really happening here is bigger than a podcast appearance. This is a product launch in disguise. For months, Nike has been teasing Caitlin Clark's signature shoe. The release window is set for spring 2025. In the United States, spring runs from March through May, which strongly points to a late April or early May drop. If you are Nike and you believe this shoe could be one of your most important basketball releases in years, you do not rely on a simple press release. You create a moment people cannot ignore. That is why athletes suddenly start appearing everywhere. Podcast interviews, media stops, and friendly conversations are not random. They are part of a proven playbook. When someone starts doing rounds on major platforms, it usually means something is coming. A book, a documentary, a business deal, or in this case, a sneaker. A lot of people believe Caitlin Clark is about to announce her shoe. That speculation did not come out of nowhere. The timing lines up too perfectly. Her first appearance on New Heights was announced on January 2, 2024, right as she was finishing her historic college career and preparing to become the top draft pick. At that moment, she was the biggest story in women's basketball. Fast forward 1 year and her resume is even stronger. Rookie of the Year, 2-time All-Star, Athlete of the Year. Bringing her back now makes complete sense. Giving her the first and last guest spots of the year is not luck. That is Nike's marketing team making sure the spotlight stays exactly where they want it. This launch matters deeply for Nike because the signature sneaker business is not what it used to be. Years ago, a famous name alone could sell shoes. During the Jordan era in the 1990s or Kobe's prime in the 2000s, quality almost did not matter. Even some poorly designed models sold out simply because the athlete was iconic. The Jordan 2009 is a perfect example. The design was bulky, uncomfortable, and aged terribly. Yet it sold because Michael Jordan's name was on it. The same thing happened with some early LeBron models that looked more like space boots than basketball shoes. People still bought them. That era is over. Today's consumers are smarter. They care about performance, design, and value. A famous face alone is no longer enough. Nike has struggled with this shift. Signature lines do not move the way they used to, and younger stars have not matched the sales power of past legends. Then Caitlin Clark entered the picture. Early on, Nike mishandled her momentum. It became so noticeable that her boyfriend, Connor McCaffrey, publicly criticized the company. That is not something you see often. When the partner of your most marketable athlete calls you out online, it signals a serious problem. During the early WNBA season, Nike posted celebratory messages for nearly every athlete they had signed. Milestones were highlighted. Achievements were praised. Yet Caitlin Clark, who was breaking records and driving massive attention, was repeatedly ignored. Fans noticed. Connor noticed too, and his tweet went viral. It raised an uncomfortable question. Was Nike deliberately sidelining her, or were they simply incompetent? Neither explanation reflected well on the brand. But Nike learns fast when money is involved. Once the numbers came in, everything changed. Caitlin Clark was boosting merchandise sales, increasing viewership, and pulling new fans into women's basketball. Shareholders do not care about internal politics or personal opinions. They care about revenue. When Caitlin proved she could move the needle, Nike adjusted quickly. That brings us back to the shoe. This launch is different from previous women's basketball signature releases. Nike has worked with WNBA players before. Sabrina Ionescu had her line. Other stars received limited editions. However, those releases were treated as niche products with modest expectations and limited marketing support. Caitlin Clark's shoe is getting the full push. She is appearing on major podcasts. The media rollout feels coordinated. The release is scheduled before the WNBA season begins, which is a smart move. Fans can buy the shoe and then watch her play in it all season. That builds a stronger connection between the product and the athlete. The timing also avoids direct competition. Fall and winter are crowded with men's basketball releases. Spring, especially May, is quieter. That allows Caitlin's shoe to stand alone instead of fighting for attention against the latest LeBron or KD model. From Nike's perspective, this is strategic planning at its best. For some people inside the industry, Caitlin Clark feels like Nike's last great hope to revive the magic of signature basketball shoes. That may sound dramatic, but the level of effort behind this launch supports the idea. No one is claiming Caitlin is the biggest celebrity in the world. She is not Taylor Swift. Even if she appeared on dozens of podcasts, it would not match Swift's cultural reach. But basketball culture is different. Influence matters more than raw fame. Dwayne Wade understood that before Steph Curry changed the sneaker landscape. In the mid-2000s, Wade made kids want to play basketball in Converse again. He did not just sell a shoe. He made it feel cool. That influence went beyond marketing. Caitlin Clark has that same potential. She connects with fans in a way that feels real. Her game translates. Her story resonates. If Nike gets this right, this shoe will not just sell. It could change how women's basketball is marketed forever. And that is why this moment matters. Caitlin Clark is not just popular with people who already follow the WNBA. What makes her different is that she is bringing in an entirely new audience. Casual sports fans, people who never paid attention to women's basketball before, are now tuning in specifically to watch her play. That kind of reach is rare, and it is exactly what separates a good signature shoe from one that can truly change the game. A successful signature shoe does more than serve an existing fan base. It expands the market. It pulls in people who were not already buying basketball shoes or following the league. Nike understands this, and they also know this may be their last real chance to capture that kind of momentum with a basketball signature line. The men's sneaker market is crowded and has felt stuck for years. The women's side, on the other hand, has been overlooked and underdeveloped for a long time. Caitlin Clark represents a unique opportunity to build something new from the ground up with an athlete who has real mainstream appeal. Now, when it comes to the New Heights podcast, Caitlin may not be the biggest guest they have ever had. She is not on the same celebrity level as someone like Taylor Swift. Realistically, she probably falls into the middle tier of their guest list. But that does not reduce the importance of her appearance. In fact, it might make it even more effective. She fits naturally into the show's vibe, and the Kelsey brothers clearly enjoy having her on. That comfort matters. My guess is that her return to the podcast is directly tied to the shoe launch. Nike has been leaning heavily into podcast appearances as part of their marketing strategy, and Caitlin Clark is a guest the Kelsey brothers genuinely like. That makes the promotion feel less forced. They can talk sports, joke around, and even drift into football conversations, which keeps the episode relaxed and entertaining. This brings us to why this New Heights appearance matters so much in 2025. Traditional sports media does not have the same impact it once did. A segment on SportsCenter reaches a smaller audience that mostly skews older. A podcast episode, especially one as popular as New Heights, reaches millions of younger listeners who are deeply engaged and far more likely to buy sneakers. The Kelsey brothers host one of the biggest sports podcasts in the world. Their audience is younger, more diverse, and more connected online than traditional football media audiences. They have already proven they can cross into mainstream culture by hosting guests like Taylor Swift, which brought in listeners who normally do not care about sports at all. At this point, New Heights is not just a sports podcast. It is a cultural platform. That is exactly where Nike wants Caitlin Clark to be positioned. Here is the smartest part of the strategy. This does not feel like a stiff corporate announcement. Caitlin is not standing behind a podium reading talking points about a new shoe. Instead, she is sitting down with two NFL stars who are genuine fans of her game. The conversation feels real, even though it is clearly planned. That balance is what modern marketing is all about. The Kelsey brothers will likely ask about the shoe design, her role in the creative process, and what features matter most to her as a player. That turns the product launch into interesting content. People tune in because they want to hear the conversation, not because they feel like they are being sold something. This is how athlete marketing works now. You do not interrupt entertainment to push a product. You blend the product into the entertainment itself. If Nike executes this the right way, this single podcast episode could generate more organic buzz than a massive traditional ad campaign. The shoe reveal will probably not happen at the beginning of the episode. They will talk basketball first. Caitlin might share stories from her rookie season, discuss the pressure she faced, or laugh about moments that went viral. The chemistry will build naturally. Once people are fully engaged, then the conversation will shift to the shoe. That is when they will show design details, talk about inspiration, and maybe even bring the shoes out on camera. The Kelsey brothers will likely try them on, crack jokes, and keep the mood light. From there, the internet takes over. Clips from the episode will spread across social media. Sneaker blogs will analyze every detail. WNBA fans will debate whether the shoe lives up to the hype. Pre-orders will open, and they will likely sell out quickly. Nike will use limited availability to increase demand, then follow up with wider releases throughout the spring and summer. This is a proven blueprint, and all the pieces are lining up. The timing is not accidental. Caitlin appearing on New Heights exactly 1 year after her first visit, right before the WNBA season begins, and right when Nike needs to launch this shoe, points to a carefully planned multi-million-dollar strategy. The biggest question, however, has nothing to do with marketing. Is the shoe actually good? This is where reality sets in. No amount of promotion can save a mediocre product. People might buy the first pair out of excitement or curiosity, but if the shoe is uncomfortable, poorly designed, or does not perform well on the court, they will not buy a second pair. That is where signature lines either succeed or fail. Nike has to get this right. The design needs to stand out without being impractical. The shoe must work for real basketball, not just look good in photos. The price has to be reasonable enough for young fans, not just collectors. And the supply has to be wide enough that regular people can actually buy them, not just watch resellers scoop them up in seconds. Caitlin's involvement in the design process is critical. Fans can tell when an athlete truly contributed ideas versus when they simply signed off on a finished product. If Caitlin requested specific features based on how she plays, that authenticity will come through. That is how long-term loyalty is built. Pay close attention to what she says on New Heights. If she talks in detail about cushioning, traction, ankle support, or materials, that suggests real involvement. If the conversation stays vague and leans heavily on generic phrases about journeys and inspiration, that could be a warning sign. The stakes here go far beyond one shoe. This launch will help determine whether women's basketball signature shoes can succeed on the same level as men's models. It will show whether Caitlin Clark's popularity translates into real purchasing power. It will also test whether the recent growth of the WNBA is sustainable or just a temporary surge. For Caitlin personally, this is about more than basketball. Signature shoes create legacy. When people think of Michael Jordan, they think of the shoes as much as the championships. When they think of Kobe Bryant, the Mamba line is part of his identity. Caitlin is only 23 years old and already stepping into that space. That is remarkable. So when that New Heights episode drops, pay attention to more than just the shoe itself. Watch how Caitlin talks about it. Listen to how the conversation is framed. Notice how Nike positions this moment within the larger story of women's sports. Because this is not just about sneakers. It is about whether women athletes can carry the same cultural weight, marketing power, and commercial influence as their male counterparts. And right now, Caitlin Clark is carrying that pressure whether she asked for it or not.